Missa Sine Nomine
is a multimedia piece with two choirs. I told you the last time, I think.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
I dedicate this to a friend of mine who was murdered by the people of Pinochet in Chile. And he was, of course, a Christian, so I did a Missa because of him. Towards him, I mean, dedicated to him. But I took the text of the Missa and I make a comparison of the holy text, and to the other side I was putting the reality.
From the newspapers.
Like a contradiction between what they promise and what is the reality. I began with the creation of the world, and I say this, you have it, this, I gave it to you.
That's why I'm
The
asking.
creation of the world began in German and in Hebrew. This is the beginning. Then comes the Kyrie eleison, who does the big choir, who is upstairs in the church. We never did it here. And then downstairs there is a chamber choir of 20 persons who at the same time are actors. That they are moving around, surrounding the public, doing a completely different text. So, for instance, there is Babel, one of the parts of it. He has seven movements. But one of the parts of it, I mean, it is a Babel. It's called Babel. Why Babel? Because it's a Babel of languages. The 20 soloists are acting and singing in different languages, in English, in French, in German, in Latin, in Spanish. For instance, these are doing downstairs. Yeah. Or, for instance, Benedictus Cuberin Domine Nomine, the big one. Blessed be the one who comes in the name of the Lord, upstairs. Then downstairs, the answer to this, who it is? Mayakovsky.
Why Mayakovsky? Why is this?
Because Mayakovsky say, Los iros hungrigen, etc. So in other words, he's talking about, he's not blessed be the one who comes in the name of the Lord. He says, I come. Ich komme. I did it in German. I come. I come to with the side of the poor, of the hungry people, etc., etc. So, for one side, the blessing, Nagon, in the religious Christian conception. For the other side, the atheist attitude of Mayakovsky, as you know Mayakovsky, I suppose. And then it's completely contradiction. It's always a fight between the ideal mystical conception and the concrete reality of what we are living. This is what I did in the Missa Sine Nomine. In the Missa, there is a thing, I think I confused perhaps with the Missa in Nomine Bach. This was done here, too. In Germany too, by the way. But in the Missa Sine Nomine, well, it's a graphic. The notation is graphic. One. Second, two choirs, as I told you. Third, four percussionists who are playing a lot of instruments, each one in one corner in the church, in the upper part. I mean, it's a multimedia in the scene that to the side of this there is a projection
of the
on the altar of the score. You understand? So the people who are doing it are looking to the screen. There is not a score in a traditional sense. Yeah. There is in there, of course, aleatorical movements, etc., etc., acting with indicated graphically how they should move, where they should move. And now, beside that, each one of the chamber ensemble, the one downstairs, the choir, is playing one percussion instrument in his hands. So there are thousands of different colors who are moving, and percussion, of course, no. Besides that, there is an organ. An organ, no? As to another part is called the lied, the chanson, where I use a text by German authors. There's no sense to tell you what it is there because it's not known from George Gross. George Gross was a painter too, and he did a poet. So we are, what we are, how we are, he's saying there. I assume the poem is a poetry, but I said to you the sense of what he's saying in there. Understand? It's always one thing answering the other. Yeah? Then, for instance, comes the credo. The credo is the center. I believe in only one God. The credo in unum Deum. Yeah? Which is done by the two choirs, one in relation with the other. There is an heterophony in there moving all the time in this piece. But besides that, in the end come a text from the Bible, and in the beginning a text from the Bible. In the beginning, the creation of the world. In the end, asking to the Almighty, what world has He created? To put it shortly, I mean, I can talk hours about the piece because it's a very long piece. It's a full evening. It has been performed 2 or 3 or 4 times in Berlin, in different churches. And there is a recording that I think you have.
Yeah, I have. I was listening.
Unfortunately, in the recording, the problem when you listen this piece,
I don't get.
and the Deutschland ein Wintermärchen, for
The
instance,
same.
or the Schwarze Gott, all these pieces are pieces who are multimedia. In other words, and they are graphical. So, in other words, what you have is a very short part of what the piece is, because you are losing the projection, you are losing the telephonical conception, you are losing the acting, what they are doing, they are moving. So you need to see this. You cannot only hear it. The hear is one part of it.
So you think it shouldn't be recorded, maybe it should be recorded on video?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. I'm talking about the Missa, I'm talking of the Deutschland ein Wintermärchen, for instance.
But you don't
I
have
like
any...
so much how you wrote it. Deutschland ein Wintermärchen, who is a text by Heine.
Yeah.
All these pieces, by the way, generally, they are politically engaged. One is of the murder of Pinochet, for instance, the Missa Sine. Deutschland ein Wintermärchen is the text by Heinrich Heine. And what it says, Germany, a trip on winter, if I translate more or less in English. What did I do? I put the Germany and the fascism in Germany, and it finished with Juden raus, Juden raus, Juden raus. It's a multimedia piece too. So there is several parts. There is soloism there. There is the capitalism moving in there. What is the new car that you have bought? How it is, etc., etc. The soloist is doing this. Well, it's a very long thing to talk about this. It would take me a long time to explain to you what I did. It is 7 parts to a full evening to
About the Deutschland and
Deutschland
Wintermärchen.
Wintermärchen. This they did it now, 2 years ago.
It was the first performance?
But I wrote this many years ago, but never performed it.
Why?
Because it was very difficult to do it.
So just now they could
do it.
do it. And you were satisfied with the result?
They did quite well, I must say. They did quite well. The problem is to record this. They don't have the equipment that they would need to do this, from my point of view. They should do with thousands of microphones to be able to do what I want. One day perhaps they want to do it.
Yes. Missa
in
Nomine
nomine
Bach.
Bach. This is something completely different. Why I call Missa in nomine Bach? Has Benedictus B. Agnus Deis A. Credo C. Ha Hosanna.
Hosanna.
Hosanna. In other words, the four first letters of the four parts of this Missa. Now it's for choir, chamber choir, and for 8 soloists, instrumental soloists. And these are based in the text, Latin text, of course, but I did it in homage to Johann Sebastian Bach, so there is a lot of contrapoint in there, etc. But the choir is not written in exact pitch. It's written in proportional notation. So I write the middle register, and proportional to the middle register, high, low, or middle. High register, middle register, low register. Which sound they are going to produce, any sound that they want. Who is comfortable for their register, that's what I am asking.
Because they don't need to.
They don't have a C, not a Do, not a Re, except the credo. The credo is made only on Do. Everyone singing Do. But there is in the middle of it a contrast with the instruments. And then come back to Do again. Credo in unum Deum. Credo, the C. C in German is Do. So credo in unum Deum, etc., etc. It's not a very long work. It's not very short either, I mean. But it is complete. It's not a multimedia, nothing of movement of no kind. The choir is static. They look to the score, and the musicians, they play from the different instruments that I use. I don't remember in a moment what instrument I use because I don't have it here. I wanted to go to look for it. But I wrote many other works for choir a cappella. I have wrote, for instance, in Germany I wrote several pieces that are in German language, of course, or I've written in Hebrew, in Missa Sine Jerusalem, for instance, 3 Hebrew choirs, Anima Amim, for instance, too, or a lament for choir a cappella. And in these pieces, I mean, it was more traditionally written. I mean, it was exactly written. It was already from the past. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Oh God, why have you forsaken me?
The texts in choir pieces, are they
Religious.
important as much as the music?
Yes, basically. The synthesis between the music and the text.
So if you don't get the text from the singers, if you don't hear the text or don't understand, the piece will not make sense? What you say?
It would make sense in any case, because it's a very good piece. But I think I was looking for something else. Well, I am talking of pieces that I did in Chile already. I'm talking about 20 years ago. You know, the lament I wrote 20 years ago, for instance. The 3 Igbo choirs is dedicated to each one of my 3 biggest children. Anima Amim, or Missa Sine Jerusalem, etc., etc., no? So they were not tonal, but metatonal, if I may say so, perhaps.
Panatonalic?
Panatonal, yes. Going a little in this tendency, but going away, no? It was never tonal completely, really. Although there is in there some disturbance in sounds, who doesn't produce a beautiful harmony. Though I like the harmony that it produced, but it was something different. Or I wrote a piece, for instance, in Germany, after I was in a cemetery in Worms, what is called the Valley of the Rabbis. And there I use a text that I wrote myself. Or
In German?
The Jewish tradition is always present. The Jewish themes, better say, not the Jewish tradition. For instance, I wrote Nacht after I saw in Germany a place where they murdered 20 children, Jewish children, who were making an experiment. It was done by the Dutch, the Hamburg choir of the radio. And this was done, by the way, in the school where these children were murdered. There they did an act, and there they performed this piece. And has been performed every year when they come the anniversary of when these children were murdered. Mm. It was in May 1945. Already the war was finishing, and they were doing experiments still with these children. They were children from many places, but all they were Jewish children. This is Nacht, for instance, choir a cappella. Absolutely atonal, of course. Nothing of multimedia, no instrument, nothing of this kind. The text I wrote myself. It's called Nacht, night, because it was in the night where they were doing. The man who ordered this and who organized all this was alive and was living very happily in Hamburg. And this was published in a newspaper when I arrived to Germany for the first time after my sabbatical year, and I saw in the newspaper that they are going to do this anniversary of these children, so I went in there. I have a commission
to write this
for the radio in Hamburg, yeah. And this commission was supposed to do a piece in what I have a free hand to do whatever I wanted. But when I saw this announcement, I say I don't want the commission, but I want to write the piece in the memory of these children. And I don't want to pay me for it, nothing, only that they perform it. And they did it. They did it in the famous Nikolai Kirche first, and then in the place where the children were murdered, and then they did it in other places too, and they transmit on the radio, and they make an interview to me, etc., etc., etc.
I see.
Well, there are so many works that I did for choir a cappella. Only these three choirs that I mentioned to you, or this Nacht that I mentioned to you, or what I did of this Valley of the Rabbis that I was visiting in by chance in Germany. And I did too this piece for choir a cappella. This was never performed, by the way. This is one of the pieces that have never been performed. I never give it to no one, by the way.
Why? Why to save it?
I don't know. That one, there is another one who's called Laudate. Laudate was a commission by the radio of Hamburg. The choir commissioned me a piece for the 50th anniversary of the creation of the choir. Mm-hmm. So I did Laudate. Laudate, you know, is something that you do it to celebrate. And I use something very funny in this. It's, by the way, written properly. Exact Nacht too, by the way.
Written on
exact notation. Not aleatoric. Everything fixed and clear. And in the Laudate I use something else. I use a clapping of the hands of the choir. Mm-hmm. So the percussion was replaced by the clapping of the choir. This has been performed several times in Germany, especially in the radio in Hamburg. The Missa Sine Nomine, written in different periods in the 70s, finished in 1977, started with the Bereshit for the little choir, big choir, and percussion. The little choir is upstairs in the church. the big choir, and the little choir is on the upper part of the church. The percussion is in the four different corners. It's graphical, as you can see, and then it says here the text that they are absolutely free to choose which syllable of this text they're going to say, except in one moment come a speaker and say the text in original in Hebrew first and then in German. The second movement is Kyrie eleison. The Kyrie eleison, this is made by the little choir, the Kyrie eleison, together with a big choir. There are, as you can see from here, different directions in which they are moving and they are doing it. Then come an interlude which is called lead, mean a song. It was not really a song, but the title lead is made by the poet who wrote it, of course, in German, and it's George Gross. It's for orgel and a speaker. This is the third part. Then come the fourth part. The big choir is doing the Gloria that you have here for voice and percussion, and the little choir downstairs is doing Chile. Now, what is the idea? The idea is the opposing of what the Missa, from the religious point of view, is saying in a mystical sense, and for the other side to show what the reality is. So after the Gloria in Excelsis Deo, glory to the Lord who exists in heaven, I put Chile, because Chile is the reality of who is answering this Gloria in Excelsis Deo. In other words, Chile is putting the little choir who is downstairs, is moving around according to different words, as you can see, according to the numbers. It's according to different numbers, 1 and 2, and then come the 3 and the 4, the 5, the 6. In the middle of all this balagan, this is projected, of course, and there is a speaker who began to shout, and then all the choir, the little choir, who is downstairs, began to shout, Chile doesn't give up, Chile doesn't give up, Chile doesn't give up. Yeah? It's an answer to this. Then come another interlude, who is the credo. Credo, I believe in only one God. And then in there, the little choir, the big choir, is doing the credo in un Deum, etc., as it is written here first, and then they began to do what is upstairs or what is down there, and then when a speaker, he began to make a text who is reading, talking to the Almighty and saying, Allmächtige, you who has all the power, you create the human with your two hands, and you das Leibes Kreuz, warum lässt du nicht das Mann ohne Graus küsst. Even I don't remember from where to put this text. It's a protest to God about what was happened. So I believe in one God, and then I ask him why he has made this world like it is. Then come, blessed be the one who come in the name of the Lord, blessed Benedictus qui viene in Dominum Domine, for the big choir, and the little choir downstairs is answered with I come, with a text by Vladimir Mayakovsky, who is an answer to what the blessed with the one in the name of the Lord. He says, I come, not blessed with the one in the name of the Lord. I am going to come. I come with the poor people. I come with those who are in the more down process of the humanity, who are suffering, who are working. Then come another part who says, Dona nobis pacem, give us peace, and then I answer this with Babel. a kaleidoscope in different language, in French, in German, in Latin, in Spanish, and all this is sung by the little choir. And these are the numbers in which they should go: 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 Babel. It's a Babel of languages. So, give us peace. And I answer this give us peace with the chaos of our world. And then come the end, who is an epilogue, who is a text for the Bible, by the way. You see how in the hand of the poor, how unfairness exists. And then the same thing was happening when I told you before, that I didn't know for where come this allmächtige, du Dächter Händes, this is too from the Bible. Both are quotations from the Bible. This is the old Missa. In Germany, for this valley of the rabbis, der Heilige Sand. It's called the Holy Sand.
The Holy Sand. In German?
In German. I did the text myself too. This has never been performed. Very difficult to do.
Why, it's proportional piece?
No.
No? So why it's so difficult?
Oh yeah. Rhythmically, intonation, many different voices. Well, I never showed this, by the way.
It's difficult to do? It's possible to perform it?
It's possible to do. Of course it's possible. Everything is possible. You need to find the right people. What happened that I never, when I was in Germany, I was doing it. But then I came here. I came back here. I couldn't have the contact that I should have done before.
So that was...
I lost like this. I lost a lot of possibilities in my life.
You regret?
Yeah, I'm sorry because people who could have done, well, I am sorry that Hermann Scherchen died, for instance, because he was doing my music, but he died, unfortunately. Walter Susskind, so many people that they wanted to sing some man. I was not a pushing, I am not a pushing man.
They came to you? You didn't have to
No, I don't like to do this, to be pushing, to go with a score to show them. No.
So you never had to do it in Germany?
I'm too proud. Perhaps this is my mistake. I am not so, well, the important thing for me, I think, is that I get satisfied what I do, what I never get satisfied really completely. You were asking me this question. I was thinking about this question last time.
Yeah, about if
you told me things that I don't like. Then you find something that you don't like it at all, something like this. You were asking me.
You didn't like the question.
And I was thinking about it. You know, always when you write a piece, there is always a surprise. There is something that you have not controlled. There is something that appears suddenly and you were not thinking of it going to appear like this. Or in rhythmical point of view, or harmonically, or melodically, or the combination of all the elements, or the tempo, or whatever it is, or even you just don't like what you have done there. So there is always a surprise.
But you still
when somebody tells you, it sounds exact as I wrote, I don't believe it. There is always something that you cannot control 100%.
And how you deal with this if you have to perform?
I never correct a piece. I let it. The mistake, I let it. To correct, no. No, because this is what I was thinking in the moment. This is what I wanted to do. Now, if I fail, I fail. I should let the failure. But to begin to correct, no. But I learn from the failure.
So next
So not to make the same mistake later. You understand?
But how you confront if it's performed and you don't like the specific moment?
If there is, in the moment when they are performing something that really disturbs me deeply, I talk about it. In the moment that they are performing, the moment that they are rehearsing. It is, yeah. But if they are already independent from me, and 10 years pass, and I listen to the piece, and I ask to myself, what have I done here? I don't want to correct the piece, no. Besides that, one change, I think one
Once you
develops
think
some
this way, after
you
you
think differently, or you approach the music in a different way. I don't know.
But you never had
I
this
think
moment?
it's something very individual, very personal, of everyone, to think, look, you need a distance in time. Then the perspective, when you look to the music again, you say, Or sometimes it happened to me the other day, I listened to a piece that I wrote in 1961. It's called the Kristallnacht. And I like it. I like it very much.
It's very...
It's a very old piece, a very old style, atonal. I think.
But it's also a celebrated piece. I mean, it was performed, and even in Hebrew you have...
It was performed several times, by the way.
Yeah.
And, but I thought I'm going to get a surprise by chance. The other thing happened to me the other day too. By consequence, I found the triptych for orchestra that I wrote in 1959. And then I found a record. There is a record they did in Chile because I got a prize for this piece. By the way, in the Kristallnacht I got a prize too. I got many prizes. And I play, I say, well, I'm going to listen to this. I did for a friend of mine who was, handicapped, but he was writing music. So he was dictating. So I call it to the memory of an hero, because in spite of his physical inability, he was not able to write. Not everything he was dictating. Imagine. And he has a disturbance, and like you say, they put anesthesia and he passed away. He didn't come back. And I listened to it. It is 3 parts. I mean, there is a prelude, there is then a funeral march, and then in the end a dance.
Danza.
What the dance of ghost. Now we have something in common with him. We are both thinking in the possibility to create, with all the modern elements, Latin American music. Music was the color of Latin America.
It was with Cuban, you played for me another time. It was with Cuban rhythms.
Yes.
It was nearly salsa.
No.
No, I'm kidding.
Salsa, no.
It was very much with percussion.
I would like to write a salsa.
No, it's not a salsa. It's not what I was
know.
Yeah, some rhythms I could recognize from
this rhythm comes from South America. The rhythmical thing was enriched, this piece, I think.
You did it in the age of 21, yeah?
It was 1959. I was 28.
28? Oh, you told me 21 another time.
21 I did. No, 21 I went to Germany to study.
Ah, so this piece was after the study?
Yes.
Because I was thinking it was before you ever studied. So
before the studies I did a piece, Hebrew Apollo, for piano was a Rhapsody. It was Rhapsody. Then I wrote some songs for my sister who passed away. Then some pieces for piano and some songs, as I remember. And then I went away.
So this was...
No, I lie. I wrote pieces for piano. I was studying with a pupil of Anton Webern in Chile. Was from Holland, Fred Focke. I didn't know that this man was collaborating with the Nazis during the Third Reich. It's happened to me always the same story. I need to...
Also in Germany, no?
In Germany it happened to me the same. Yes. Destiny. I need to be in contact with the Nazis.
So the order is different from what it's...
What's happened, all this I create in 1977, the cycle. I finished in 77. I started in 75.
Okay.
So in 75, for instance, I did Ich komme. I come.
Can you read a little from what you wrote then about?
I call it a choreographical poem for a fragment of a text, the cloud with in Pans by Vladimir Mayakovsky. The text is singing, whispering, shouting, murmuring by the choir simultaneously with the different movements that they need to do. They are indicated in the score according to the different numbers. The proportion exists according to the pitch, it means which sounds they're going to sing, the duration, how long, the rhythmical possibility, the dynamic according to the size of the figure, and the tempo in relation in which place in the space of the score it is written. The duration is free. Yeah, there you have it.
And then the second was Chile.
You know, the first one was Bereshit. Chile, why did Chile?
Chile, 76.
Wait a moment. Chile, yes. Yeah.
You have to read.
Chile for 20 voices. By the way, Ich komme for 20 voices too. A cappella. 20 voices, Chile, 1976. 1 year after Ich komme. The events that happened in Chile from the putsch of the year 1973 inspired me this piece. The text belongs to the words who are without connection between themselves, written in German and in Spanish, like a slogan that is written down in the back part of the score. Each instrumentalist has with him one instrument. Claves, maracas, wood blocks, temple blocks, güiros, conga, panderet, drums, hand drums, castañuela, and a whip. The movement of all the members of this chamber choir must be accompanied at the same time with the voices, with the letters who are written to the side of the text, or with the words who are to put in according to the numbers. And the instruments are free to use those elements and those colors to orchestrate what the choir is doing.
Okay, and the next piece was
Babel.
Babel from
76 too. 7 structures are the basic material in this work. Each one of these structures they had a long basic instrumental language invented. There is no meaning. There is a decomposition and recomposition who affect creating neologism. Each one of the structure can be maintained by the members of the choir, meanwhile the other continue with the order from 1 till 7. In other words, one can do from 1 till 7, but some of them can between interrupt, choosing number 2 or number 3 or number 5, etc. The word Babel, who is the last one, it should be used by everyone when he finishes his part. Mm-hmm. The totality of the piece is 3. The only condition is that each voice has with him metallical instrument, triangles, crotals, chains, suspended cymbals, tam-tam, gongs. By contrary, what we saw in before that I was mentioned to you in Chile. In Chile was only wood percussion instrument. Here is metal percussion instrument. Missa. The Missa was commissioned to me. Was performed for the first time in Hamburg. I have done since 75 different individual pieces. Yeah? Then all these individual pieces I began to make how can I represent my protest to what's happening in Chile. So I use those that I had written already, but I add others that I was not written to make the cycle. For instance, the Bereshit was not done before. So I start the Missa, you know what is a Missa, Nahon? Yeah. I start the Missa with the introduction of the Missa with the creation in Hebrew. And later they do in German. For the two choirs, simultaneously. Then I use from the Missa, the first part of the Missa, this is new, the Kyrie eleison. This is 77. And the Kyrie eleison, I answer it with the organ alone with one speaker who is doing a text by George Gross. Meanwhile, this is Kyrie eleison, the glory to the Almighty, I answer, and these are the landscape, and this is the reality. There is shadows and storms, there is deep holes in our earth. This is what we really are. Not the one who was created by the Almighty, but what we are in this reality. Then I come to the next one, to the Gloria. Gloria was not done before. This is 77. And then after Gloria I answered with Chile, who was done in 76. And then I did the Credo, 77. And then I used the 77, but I used Iscoma 76. And then come the same story, 77, Dovenarno Vispace, Babel 76. You understand what I mean? And then come the end in 77. So I put a different order, but the order is not chronologically when I was composing. The organization is what I did in 77 with new different pieces to complete the cycle.
Wow.
You understand? But now, the last thing that I need to say. The first is the creation. Then comes the second, the number 2. The number 2 is the Kyrie eleison and the answer. By George Gross, who was a leftist writer, very important in the German language, totally stupid that it was telling there, should know. The third is the Gloria, and the Gloria is answered by Chile. The fourth, it comes here, the Credo. I believe in only one God. But in the Credo, I ask to the Almighty a text with the Bible from Amos. And then come the Benedictus, the fifth. And the Benedictus I answer with Iscome, with Mayakovsky, the text of Mayakovsky. The number 6 is give us peace. And then I show that the reality of the world is a Babel, a Duhananda. And then comes the seventh part, who is coda, the epilogue, where I quote the Bible too from Amos too at the same time with the choir doing the classical elements. What are you saying? It's not true. You never belong to me. You never have time for me. You bought only 2 pair of shoes for me. You understand what I'm talking? This is unbelievable. But now we go to graphic music.